Alright, what's up guys? I back actually making another video somehow. But this video is going to be about the A plus and my process. Just like a little more studying. So I recently passed my A plus Core 1, and then back a few months ago I also passed my Tech Plus. So we're now going to start working on the Core 2 of the exam for the A plus so I can get A plus certified. I currently go to a talent center that's actually sponsoring me for this, so I don't not any money out of pocket. So I'm taking advantage of it. If it wasn't for that, I would skip it and I would like learn the material and then not take it. But since it's getting paid for, I'm planning on taking it. So what I've realized is Core 1 was a lot of hardware and networking, printers, etc. But the Core 2 is more operating system, security, all the troubleshooting and the kind of procedures we actually get to use in IT. And I'm hoping that'll be an easier exam for me, just because I'm already working at an MSP in my local town. But I'm not completely sure. Unfortunately, I am using CompTIA's official course because my school pays for it. So I can't actually show the course content, the questions I get, the labs that I'm going to do, or anything that I paid for or the school paid for. But I will be documenting it, and I will be showing you guys me working through it and the studying, and I'll show you guys what I learned afterward. Alright, so I guess let's get into it. Let's get into the studying. I'll put a timer on screen so you guys can see how long I study for. Right. Alright, so I'm finally done studying, and that 1 hour block was alright. I mean, I didn't get like that deep into it, but I was trying to actually do what I was learning. I did take notes, so I will try to read off what I kind of summarize it. But mainly what I was learning was documentation and how it's important, IT support and whatever else. Like, you just need to document everything. CompTIA even had a video talking about how they had a cloud service that a guy left, and he was important for all the web services. And then when he left, that like they didn't know how to fix something that broke 6 months later, but he documented it. They were able to actually go back and fix it without any of them needing to learn excessive things about the web and cloud. So, see what I got. So, yep, documentation is so what like the next person does, they know how to do it instead of actually having to like learn how to do it. You actually have everything written out for them. And then I got to also learn about SOPs, which was standard operating procedure, and policies. So policies is like what the intent is, what it should be doing, and then the SOP was the step-by-step to actually comply with that policy. And then there's also guidelines, which are like the SOP, but they don't have like this step-by-step. It's kind of just like things that you should follow. There's also the SLA, which is the service. What the L stands for? Oh, service level agreement. I believe it could be wrong. I'm just trying to go off memory, but it's when it's like what a contract, what you're gonna do for a person. I also got to learn the rule of nines, uptime and downtime of stuff, just depending on what the rule of 9 is. And then for ticketing systems, I learned about the severity level. I learned about requests, incidents, and problems, which those are requests. Like a request is if someone's trying to set something up, they request your help. An incident is like if a problem happens, and a problem is like, or like an incident, it's like an error happens that you have to solve. The problem is if like an incident happens a bunch and it's happening, that becomes a problem. Also, escalation. So if there's like a problem with something, that you can escalate the ticket to someone that will know more than you will, so you actually can go and focus on things that you can do while somebody else can handle it. Let's go to the next video. I learned about incident reports, so you can kind of like talk to someone about what's wrong and what their procedure is, then you can actually write down like something in a knowledge base, discussing like what you should do differently for that kind of client next time. I also learned about knowledge bases, and they're like kind of like the FAQ. Microsoft has one, Dell, HP, all the laptops, just like standard things of like what could go wrong, and then they kind of write it out for you before you have to put it. At my MSP, we actually have our own knowledge base, so things that we do with certain clients that we like only we know about, we can go in and like actually like, oh, okay, this is a problem. We go in, check the knowledge base to make sure that this is not a thing that's happened before, if there's a certain way to do it. So they're really useful. I've used it all the time, especially with how new I am to this. I've had to go into it countless times to figure out what I'm doing. There's also the AUP, which is the use policy. It shows how things should be handled, like devices and whatnot. If the SLA is wrong, you can actually file like a complaint, get money or whatever it is, have them change their agreement. There's also the SOP is the how, while a policy doesn't really do the how, just the SOP is the how. Whenever you're doing an SOP, like if you have you're looking at it and there's like something that's out of date, like there's acceptable use policy is out of date, then you probably should go in and update it and make sure it's like up to date and up to state company. I also got into the next unit was professional communication, which this one was a little easy. Both of these units were really easy, but professional communication, you have to like actually know how you're supposed to handle the clients and make sure they understand what's happening, make sure that they're aware that you're handling the ticket and make sure you're doing it effectively. I also learned that you should make sure that customers like document everything to them. You shouldn't lie to them. You should be really honest and make sure they're actually aware of what's happening, and they shouldn't have to like go out of their way to call you to find out what's happening. They should know. And then you should also ask for permission before putting them on hold or any like transfer or whatever else. They should be aware of what you're up to. If you're gonna remote onto their desktop or you're gonna go to their desk, they should have a chance to remove all their private windows that are open or bank statements on their desk. Whatever is private shouldn't have to be in the situation where you can look at their private information. You also should avoid using jargon with your customers, clients, whatever, and you should make sure that it's like all English and readable language to them. There also could be language barriers that you'll come across that they don't speak the same language or they have an accent. You just kind of have to make sure that you're reassuring everything and make sure that you actually can hear them and try to demonstrate more rather than actually talking. It's like one way you can go about it. I also need to focus on active listening, so when I'm having a conversation with someone, actually listen to like what they're up to and like really focus on what they're talking about before I like interrupt or comment or whatever else. Just make sure I get their whole thing and I actually like interpret it down. Also, there's the open and closed questions, which is like an open question is you give them a question that they can answer with detail, and you actually can like let them fill in the blanks or whatever it is. Then a closed question is something they can say yes or no to. If I ask you like a quick question, like can your computer turn on? It'll help you quickly figure out and diagnose a problem without having their need to have like technical knowledge that you just gotta have to let them know. Kind of just helps build the troubleshooting process, which is really nice. All right, so that's it for the day one of studying for the Core 2. But I'm gonna keep on documenting it. I probably won't have all of my studying on camera, which is fine. I do a lot of studying while I'm either in the car. I use a combination of like Professor Messer. I use the CompTIA course that my school has paid for, and I also use AI to quiz me on stuff, and if I don't understand it completely, I'll actually have it go in depth and explain the concept to me, which has been a lot of help. But there's not really a good way to show that. It's just I'll document stuff when I can and I have time for it, but I'll definitely document more labs and other stuff that I get into that lay at a future date for other like actual home lab stuff. But I'll get a few more A+ studying videos, but definitely not a priority, you know. But trying to get better at this. whole video thing. So if you guys have any questions, comment down below on whatever else. If you guys want to connect to me, I do have a LinkedIn. I'm going to try to link all of those in my bio. And if you guys have tips on either the YouTube or the any kind of cybersecurity, or guys any help, or just want to get in touch, all fine by me. I just prefer it. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time I do this. Peace.